Anyway, joining us now with more. Former Defense Secretary Mark Esper is with us. Secretary, thank you for being with us. You know, Joe Biden actually said the Chinese spy flight is not a major breach. Do you view that as a major breach? Because I view that as a major breach.
It's absolutely a major breach. It's the first intrusion of American airspace in my lifetime that I can recall, where a foreign adversary flew a surveillance platform not only over the United States, but over the most sensitive sites of the U.S. military in the States. And so it's a major breach, and it's a further breakdown in trust between our two countries. How is it possible that they don't even seem to know where these other three objects that were shot down out of the sky came from? Do you believe that explanation? Because I'm having a hard time believing it. You know, it did come from a different angle than the Chinese spy balloon, which came up from the southwest toward Alaska. These three appear, at least two of them, appear to have come from the north of Alaska, which could mean it came from Russia, maybe from a friendly country, a research institute, who knows? But they got to do the hard work now and recover them in some treacherous terrain in the bottom of Lake Huron. And I think once we see the wreckage, have a chance to pick over the debris, we'll have a good sense of what these are, what they were doing, and so on. When you read widespread media reports and Ron Johnson and Chuck Grassley's work, and you hear about all of these financial dealings with countries like China and Russia and the amounts of money that we're talking about. Hunter Biden at the time, you know, according to reports that are widely disseminated, according to his own laptop, show that he was a crack user at the time. Why would they be doing multi-million-dollar plus deals with Hunter, and Hunter complaining and implicating his father that he's given some of the money to his father? His father lied and said he never had any conversations with his son about these business deals. Why would these countries, our top geopolitical foes, be wanting to do business with somebody that has no experience except an addiction to crack cocaine? No idea, Sean. Those are good questions. I know there'll probably be hearings on the Hill with regard to that in the House. But, you know, my concern has been that the administration seems to be behind the ball on each of these major national security issues, whether it's providing arms and ammunition to the Ukrainians to beat back the Russians, or deciding to shoot down the Chinese spy balloon after it crossed the United States as compared to before it crossed the United States. Mr. Secretary, based on what we know that is in the public sphere, and even Hunter implicating his own father, according to reports in the New York Post and elsewhere in the Senate report, that he knew darn well about these business dealings, is it possible that the President of the United States is compromised with these hostile regimes? It's a big question, Sean. I'm not sure. I wish I was more studied on a topic. But again, I think this is something that members of Congress, Republicans, are going to go after, look deeply into, and find out what the connections are, where they were, particularly as it tracks back to Ukraine. I know there's a lot of interest there, and you mentioned in your tee-up China as well. So these are things that Congress is going to dig into. Well, they're not being particularly cooperative right now. We'll see what happens over time and what it's going to take to get the information. Secretary Esper, thank you.